All right on folks, John Crane here in the shop, and today I got some black pipe, I got a pipe bender, I got a pattern drawn out on the table. I'm going to make a quick handrail. This is a project for a customer, so let's get busy. All right, here is the pipe that I'm going to use for this project. This is 1¼ inch black pipe. It's 1 11/16 outside diameter. Here's the pipe bender I'm going to use. This is kind of this might even be like a Harbor Freight type pipe bender. It comes with these different dies. So I got the right size die in for this pipe here. So on the table, I've drawn out the stairs. I'll show you a picture of the stairs here. So you can see these are some outdoor landscape steps made out of some 4x6. And so right here is one step. Here's the second step, third step, fourth step. And here's where I'm going to have one upright that's going to hold the rail up top. Here's going to be another upright. I'll weld a plate to the bottom of these pipes right here and then put some lag bolts down into those 4x6s. And so let's see if we can see up here. I have drawn the handrail. I'll come over to this side of the table. So it's going to have a return that goes down, and then here is the angle. And here, I'm over on the other side now. Right, here's our handrail coming up. It's going to take a little angle here, and then it's going to have a 90 and return right here. It's not going to look like this. It's going to be a sweep when I bend it. I just got that just for the drawing sake. So let's get busy. I'm going to put this into the bender and start making the first bend for this 90 right here. The first thing I'm going to do is put some reference lines on the pipe for bending. I got these little clips that go onto a ruler. I got 2 of them, and this enables you to put a straight line on a piece of pipe. All right, so this pipe is going to have a 12-inch return that comes down to the bottom. So I've measured up 12 inches. I'm measuring actually a little bit long, and I'll cut that off later with a cutoff wheel. So right now, for the middle of our bend, right, I'm going to mark 10 inches, and then the middle, I'm going to mark the 5-inch spot, and then I'm going to put 1-inch increments here. So I'm going to do it at every inch mark. So here's what I got laid out. So I got the 5-inch right on the center, and I got increments marked at 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so I'm sliding the pipe in, and I'm actually starting at what would be the 8-inch increment there. And I'm lining that up with the center mark on the die. And now I'm going to start pumping our hydraulic. All right, I have my white reference line always facing up. I put enough pressure on here so that the bottom of the die has bottomed out at the bottom of the pipe, and now there's some tension on the hydraulic, and you can see here this is 10, 9, 8, so I'm lined up on the 8 mark. Here is our center of the bend, so we're just going to bend a little bit at each increment. All right, now that there's some tension, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, 15 pumps. Now I'm going to release the pressure. There we go. Let me show you a good look at the inside of the die here. So this is just cast. It's got a little hole for the ram on the bottom. I got the center line here. Okay, so now we're going to slide this in, and now I'm going to line up number 7 on the center mark. All right, I got my white reference line up. I'll bring this up till I feel some tension and that this bottoms out. All right, I feel that's pretty good. So now we're gonna do 15 more pumps. 14, 15. All right, now release it again. All right, we'll do the same thing. Now we'll move down to the next increment. All right, so now I'm lining up our number 6 spot. Tighten up the hydraulic. All right, I just put some reference numbers on here just so you guys could follow along if you're trying to do this at home. All right, so now number 6, I'm gonna do 15 pumps on number 6. 1, 2, 15. All right, and then I will release the hydraulic and we'll go over to number 5. And we're gonna work our way down till we get to number 2. And then if need be, we're gonna have to work it again. All right, we're going into fast forward mode here. Now I'm gonna pull this out. Let's see if I can get it out. Pop that out. All right, we're starting to get a nice bend. All right, now just to show you guys for reference, you know, here's my drawing of the top of the handrail and here's the return that it takes. So I'm laying this on top of the pattern, right? We're not even close, but I'm just showing you for reference how much more we need to bend to get down to our return right there. All right, so I'll keep on bending. So now I'm gonna go back in again and I'm gonna start at 8, 7, 6, you know, work my way all the way down again. And when I think I'm getting close, you know, I'll come back and I'll check it on the pattern until it fits. All right, as this bend is getting a little tighter, I am moving the rollers down to the next step so the ram doesn't have to be extended out as far. I know these are supposed to reference to whatever die you're using. That is looking deluxe. I got that very nicely lined up with my lines here on the pattern, and you can see the bend. That works great. So that's just hitting it at 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And you can see here, there's no ripples on the back side of the pipe. There's no kinks, there's no nothing. It's just a very nice smooth bend. Now that I got the bend lined up nicely with the pattern, I'm just gonna put a little mark right here, and I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna cut this on the bandsaw, and then I'll be able to screw some blocks here to the table so I can quick reference this pipe for the rest of the project. Now that I got those blocks down there on that end, I can just butt this into those blocks and put that right onto the pattern. All right, if we look at the pattern right here, we got our top handrail coming. It's gonna take a slight bend here before it goes to the 90 that goes down to here. So it's a 90, a slight bend. Here's our top rail, here's our vertical. So what I have done is I've bisected the center on this angle and also right here on this angle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna butt this in. I'm gonna take our white paint pen and I'm gonna mark the center of this angle. Put a little C for center. And I can move this out of the way. And now what I've got is got one of these floppy tapes. These are great if you don't have one. This one's made by Fast Cap. All right, so I'm gonna hold one. Okay, all right, so we're about 10 inches. Subtract an inch because I'm burning an inch. 9 inches from the center of this angle to the center of this angle. So now I will transfer 9 inches on the pipe. All right, I'm gonna hold one, and I'm gonna mark 10. And we'll make this the center line of this 90. All right, hopefully that is all making sense. So now I'm gonna put some increments on this 90. I'm gonna bend this one first, then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna bend this smaller angle right there. All right, now I'll put this back in the bender and work this the same way I worked the other one. Okay, as far as reference for bending, I do have a level on the pipe here, and then I can come out to this end and make sure that this is nice and level before I start bending the pipe, trying to keep everything in the right plane. So now this looks real nice. This looks real nice. Now we can start bending away. All right, this bend came out great. I got it right on 90 degrees and coming out really smooth here on the back and the front. This is a nice method for this bender. All right, I realize there's some really nice bending machines out there, and this is kind of a cheapo bender, but for my shop where I'm not doing this every day, this gets me by and I get a very nice product using this method by doing the stepped bends at 1 inch increments. Right, I know if you bring this to a bending shop where it's all those guys do and you put this in the machine, you can bend this in seconds. And Greenfield, some other companies, they make some really nice conduit benders for electrical work. I've used those before. Those bends come out beautiful, but a machine like that is a few $1,000s. This is pretty cheap and a very nice product. All right, so I got the nice 90 on there. Now I have to put another small bend right here. So I'm gonna work on that. I think I'm gonna cut this off right now so I'm not working with all this extra pipe. All right, I've been kind of eyeing it up from here to the pattern, and I think I better stop and check it before I go too far. All right, you don't want to get carried away and overbend it. That actually looks perfect. It looks great. All right, that is awesome. This is nice and straight. I'm a hair over from where my pattern was, but I made that kind of arbitrary. This could end up actually anywhere in this area, so I wasn't trying to shoot, but I got pretty close. I'm within an inch of that right there. So, boy, I'm happy with those results. Very nice bends. All right, now it's time to cut a couple uprights, put some fish mouths in those, and weld this to the pipe. All right, before I put this bender away and get on to the uprights on the handrail, I just want to say a few things about the bender. You can do a lot with this bender. This is really good. There's several dies that I have for this for different size pipe. I think you can do 3/4 inch pipe all the way up to 2-inch pipe, and just these dies are slightly, different shape, bigger on the inside. And you notice that I was moving these down as the bend went on, right? Obviously you want to start in the holes that are further out, and then as the bend gets tighter, don't be afraid to shift these down. If you start with these down low and too narrow, you can put some crinks or some bends, little divots in the top of the pipe, and you don't want that. You notice I wasn't using sand. I wasn't packing the pipe with sand. That's good for thinner wall tubing. That does help. In this case, this is schedule 40, so I don't really need that sand in there for bending the pipe. So it's a great method. It works. I got to say, I learned this method on YouTube, of all places, right? I learned so many things on YouTube. I can't remember the guy's name. He was working on his Jeep. He was making some, bars for the bumper or something like that. I'll go back and look at it, and I'll put a link to his video in the description. But YouTube is just amazing. You can learn so much. I also want to say these little nubs that stick out, these are feet to hold this thing level when it's laying on the table or the floor. Another note on these dies, if you look inside here, sometimes the casting is rather rough and scratchy. It's nice to go in there and polish this, sand it, get rid of those big bumps from the casting. I went in with just a little drum sander attachment for, put it on the cordless drill. Go in there. Also went in with the flapper disc a little bit. Get off any rough patches so your pipe doesn't stick in there and it doesn't get all scratched up from that rough casting. All right, I've cut the 2 vertical pipes here, and I've cut these a little bit long on this end, quite a bit long. And that is because I'm going to cut the 2 angles here on the top, and then I'm going to fish mount those, get those to fit real nice, and then I will cut this to the right height. All right, so to get the angle to cut on the top of our vertical pipe, I got the Starrett protractor here, and I'll use the little baby Starrett square, and I'll bump this off of the line, or bump into the edge of the rule. And I've already checked this and established that this is at 66 degrees, so I'll go set up the bandsaw. We'll cut these at 66 degrees. All right, now we're gonna cope this vertical pipe so it fits snugly around the top pipe here on the underside. Now there's a few ways you can do this. You can do it with a cutoff wheel, a grinder. You can do it on the Bridgeport with a hole saw. You can come through and put a nice half round on this pipe so it mates up very nice to this. Now I'm gonna do it with a cutoff saw. So here is the diagram. So right here's our vertical pipe. I got this cut at 66 degrees. And then what I'm doing here is I'm taking 1/3 the diameter of the pipe, which turns out to be 0.55, 35/64 about. And I'm coming down, so from center to this side of the pipe, I'm gonna cut this off right here. And then from center over here, I'm gonna come down, right, the 0.55, and I'm gonna cut this angle. So on my little miter chop saw, that turns out to be that this cut will be at 45 degrees and this cut will be at 12 degrees. So I'm gonna go cut that now. I have laid out a center line on top of the pipe with our little stops here. That's such a nice little tool for laying out center. So let's go out to the saw, we'll cut these, and then we'll shape this a little bit with the grinder so it fits in nicely. All right, here is the hokey baloney setup I got going on here, right? This is just some old chop saw that I have an abrasive wheel on. All right, so I got this laid in against the fence. I have a block that is cut to half the diameter of the pipe. That way I can line this right up with the center line, and I know this is perfectly straight and up top here. All right, and there is our angle. We got this cut set to 45 degrees. I got it clamped to the fence, and now we're gonna chop this angle at 45. Well, then we'll turn it and we'll cut this one is at 12 degrees. All right, now here is what we've got. All right, trying to get you the best view of the angle. So now we have to dish that out with the grinder, but even right now the fit is really nice just with those cuts. Let me bring you in a little closer. All right, see how nice that fits up against the pipe. So we're just going to do a little bit of light grinding. I just want to show you how nicely that fits up with the pipe. See that? Nice. That's a beautiful fit. All right, the fit on our handrail looks deluxe up here with our coping. Now it's time to cut our verticals to length. So the base plate that I'm going to use is some flat bar. Now this is 3.5 by 1/2 inch thick by 6 inches. I'll put a hole in each corner and we'll weld this to the bottom. All right, I got everything lined up and I'm just making sure everything's in the same plane. Everything's looking nice and flat and it looks good. So I cleaned up all these joints where they're going to be welded with some acetone, right, wire brush, all that whole deal. So they're nice and clean. Now I'm going to put some tacks here and run some beads on these. All right, right on, folks. I put 5 coats of paint on this handrail and it is looking dynamite. It did reveal a couple dings here and there from the bender, but overall I am very happy with how this handrail looks. Now it's time to go do the install. I just want to add a note that I did want to do powder coat on this, and that would be very durable, either powder coat or galvanizing, but that wasn't in the budget. But the nice thing is, if you ever wanted to do that down the road, it's 8 bolts. Just pull this off, run it over to the powder coat guys, and for about 150 bucks, you know, they can put a coat of paint on it. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had fun making it. Hopefully this helps you out. If you got a bender like this that I have, and you're able, you know, to get some nice bends like this with ease. All right, tell your friends, tell your buddies, tell your pals, tell your amigos about my channel. Please like and subscribe. I hope you guys are doing great, and I'll see you all soon. Right on.